Hello everyone, I'm Fozzie or Cam, and I'm here as always with my co-host Will. How you doing today, Will?
Doing great, Cam. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic. Sorry if this episode is a little laggier than usual. I'm on vacation, and I'm using different Wi-Fi, and it's a lot worse than what I usually use. Um, but yeah, I'm excited to be here today. I'm excited to talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which was a big movie that I did a quick review on, but we both saw it the other day. So and we actually both had very similar opinions on it. I think we gave it the exact same score. So yeah, I'm really excited to talk about it. I just wanted to start first with an overall general review of the movie, and then we can get into the more nitty gritty details, the finer details, you know. So overall, I gave this movie a 7.5 out of 10. What did you give it? Well, was it the same exact score?
Yeah,
Or
I totally agree. I think 7.5 is a perfect rating for this film. So yeah, I'm right with you on that one.
yeah, I thought it was a really good Marvel movie. I thought it balanced the comedy and the action really mostly well. Uh, there are a few things I'll get into later. Modoc, that sort of thing. That's kind of what I want to talk about later. That's where I saw flaws. Um, but it was an overall pretty good balance between the comedy and the drama, the action, because there had to be a balance because you take this franchise Ant Man, which is you always considered one of the comedy franchises in the MCU, like Guardians or even Thor now, I guess. Um, but then you put this Avengers level threat and this Avengers level seriousness in it, and you have to combine it together to make it a comedy drama action movie, which is no easy task. That's for sure. But I think they handled it pretty well. Um, I thought I thought Paul Rudd's performance was really good, and you can't just say he's not taking anything seriously. He's just undercutting things with jokes because that's just his character. Um, I thought Cassie was outstanding. I thought Hope. People said she didn't have a lot of screen time. Disagree. I thought she had plenty of screen time. Michael Douglas as Hank. No, he there. That is one thing I kind of agreed with people there. He did not have a lot to do. Actually, I think Hope had a lot more to do than him, but he still served his part, and ended up paying off at the end. He had a really cool moment at the end of the movie with the ants coming in. This is spoilers, by the way. I hope you guys know that. Michelle Pfeiffer, outstanding, and I think we all know what the highlight of this movie is. Well, Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror. What an outstanding performance! I was really happy with Kang in this movie, and I can't wait to see more of him moving forward. It's just a completely different role from how we saw him in Loki. But Will, I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, and to what you were saying there about it being a totally different role that he played in Loki, I think that's like an awesome thing that they could do to have all these variants of this one character and to have like multiple different personas. I think that's awesome. And uh, Jonathan Majors, as you said, outstanding. That guy is just a talent
Yeah,
out there in the acting world right now, and I can't wait. Um, I think that they're still trying to build up though, because I am surprised as an Avengers level threat that not one of the main characters died in this film. You happen with a character as menacing as him. So I was a little surprised about that, but I think they're, still trying to build him up and save his absolute most menacing qualities films. But I totally agree with you about the 7.5 out of 10. I thought Michelle Pfeiffer and Jonathan Majors were absolutely the stars of the film.
yeah.
I thought it was uh, definitely the best Ant-Man film yet. Took itself the most seriously out of the three Ant-Man films.
But
But
still managed
the
to be a
reason that I
comedy
haven't,
movie. It still managed to be a comedy
yeah,
movie as well. Yeah.
it did. But the reason that I give it a 7.5 and not something higher is I would say like one of my biggest critiques was that it felt rushed, especially at the beginning to me. I thought they kind of rushed
Yeah,
quickly
yeah,
into the quantum realm and could have took
yeah.
their time a bit. So the movie was, I believe, 2 hours and 5 minutes. I thought it could have
Mhm.
been like 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
And then also, the Ant-Man film obviously prides itself on comedy, but this is a much more serious story that they're doing. So I get that you can't just, suddenly turn it from comedy into going more dark, but I
yeah,
I I just thought that they, could have cut back on some of the jokes just because of the situation that they were in and the Avengers level threat that they were going up against. So I thought this was a good movie, but I would say some of the comedy and the fact that it felt a little rushed to me, especially at the beginning, is what puts it at a 7.5 and not an 8 or 9.
yeah. See, I agree with you with being rushed at the beginning there. But the thing is, here's what I'm thinking. It was a short movie. If it was long, if I went into the movie knowing it was a 2 hour and 30 minute movie, then this might not make any sense whatsoever. But if I went into the movie knowing it was going to be 2 hours and 30 minutes, I would have been really weirded out if they just got into the quantum realm within, I don't know, 5, 10 minutes into the movie. But since I came in knowing it was a 2 hour movie, I kind of wanted them to get right in there. So I was actually fine with them getting into the quantum realm earlier. But there were other things that I found flaws in, like Bill Murray should have been in the movie longer. I just feel like not wasted potential, but I just feel like he could have done more. He just was there. He said his lines. Said a few funny jokes. Then he left, I guess, and it was fine. But I just feel like I've seen Marvel movies do certain things that this movie was trying to do a lot better. Like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies just do comedy better than the Ant Man movies. It's that simple. They're like the Ant Man franchise is like the off brand Guardians. The jokes are funnier in Guardians. The action is better in Guardians. But this movie I still really enjoyed. And another flaw is I feel like this movie was just using Ant Man as a vessel to progress this Kang story arc. I feel like they just like spun a wheel with a bunch of franchises that they had going, and it just landed on Ant Man. Like, okay, we can put the Kang story into Ant Man, and that's what they did because they needed to have a way to kind of build up the Kang story, and I was fine with it because it made the Ant Man franchise a lot better. But I just felt like it was kind of a weird thing to do. But yeah, overall, there were some good things. Obviously, I pointed those out. Super fun, awesome VFX. I cannot describe how beautiful this movie looks, Will. And I believe you said it was the most visually stunning Marvel movie.
I cannot listen. You've seen all these Marvel movies more than me, Cam. Tell me what you think, but I cannot think of one in the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that was more visually
Yeah,
stunning than that. Because I thought that was a masterpiece, and as you said, it's just beautiful to your eyes. So if there is one thing, like the thing that I give the film the most credit for was how visually stunning it was. Because tell me what you think, but I can't think of one Marvel movie that has better visuals than that.
I think most Marvel movies have really well done visuals because
Absolutely.
just look at the budget they get handed. I mean, Age of Ultron had like a $300 million budget. It looks great. They all have these stellar VFX, and the only movie that I could see rivaling this one in the VFX department, kind of, or just how good it looks overall, are probably Doctor Strange. The first one, I just feel like the second one, Multiverse of Madness, much as I love it, does have some shoddy VFX here and there. So I just think the first Doctor Strange movie has some. It looks really beautiful, and has a lot of scenes that are actually really similar to Quantumania in it. Um, so I think that could compete with Quantumania. Quantumania did here or there. It like caught me off guard. Ooh, that doesn't look good. But for like the majority of the movie, I was completely engaged in the scenery and everything that was going on around Scott. Particularly when all the Ant Man were pushing him up to get to the thing. I don't even know what that thing was. His ship. What was it called?
I'm not sure, but I know what you're about. Yeah.
Yeah, and whatever that was. But when they were trying to get that, I thought that looked beautiful, seeing all the Ant Man together. Um, it was visually stunning. Now I actually want to talk about Modoc, one of the weaker parts of the movie. I came in expecting to be intrigued by this character, expecting to laugh at this character. That's what I came in expecting, and I did. It was just really weird. It was really weird. Well, I want to hear your thoughts first, actually. Well, I want to hear what you think about Modoc.
Yeah, I mean, I thought like, I feel like if you look at some of like the best Marvel movies recently, they might like, for instance, like a movie like Black Panther Wakanda Forever. It's a really good movie, but like Ironheart, you're just like a little like less engaged in her character than maybe some of the other characters there. I feel like all good movies just have one character who you're just kind of like about and don't really care about them as much. And
Yeah,
that was Modoc to me in this film. I liked, how he wasn't just a random guy, that it was actually Darren Cross from the first Ant-Man
yeah,
movie. So I
that was
liked
fun.
that. But this guy, if I'm saying it right, this guy is a mechanical organism designed only for killing. And
Yeah,
I did not think he really lived up to his title. Like I like if you are like if you have that title, I want you killing like thousands of people. I want to be terrified of you.
yeah. I don't think he
And I
killed
was
one
not
person.
terrified of Modoc, and they just made him kind of more of a comedy character. So if I had to pick the weakest part of the film, I would definitely say Modoc.
Yeah, and it's too
Yeah,
bad
I would
because
definitely say that Modoc was the weakest part of the film.
yeah, it's too bad because Modoc is usually such a cool character in Marvel lore and stuff. He was really as bad as the game was, the Avengers game on the Avengers game. He was a pretty cool character, and in the comics, he's a pretty good character as well. He could have actually, I think, had his own story had they kind of not made him Darren Cross and not put him in this movie. They could have just done their own Modoc story, which there's actually a Modoc TV show, which is it's a comedy show on Hulu, which is pretty funny actually. It doesn't really go into the deep lore of Modoc, but it gives you the general idea. And I I enjoyed watching that show's version of Modoc more than I enjoyed this version of Modoc. And he didn't look very good either. I know what they were going for, and I know it's hard to make it look really good. It just was kind of weird. Um, Aside from that, he had a few good scenes. I mean, his death scene was funny. That was probably the big scene that made me laugh at him, and I think a lot of people agree with me there. Um, I also liked when Kang, trying to transition to the next topic here, when Kang he was trying to speak to Kang, and Kang got mad and threw him against the wall, just displaying how much power Kang has and how much fear he just strikes into people. So Kang, what a performance by Jonathan Majors! Just brilliant. He is such a great actor, and everything I've heard coming from Creed 3 sounds outstanding, and I'm just so happy that he's in the MCU. I'm glad that the MCU got him before another big franchise took him, and we'd have to look for someone else to play Kang. So he was truly menacing in this movie, and that when he finally got so angry, when his plan was crumbling, and when he was getting angry, I was scared. When he was killing everyone in sight, that was beautiful. How did you like Kang? Well,
Yeah, I thought, yeah, I thought Kang was just really, really good, and they have exactly the actor that they need in that role. Jonathan Majors knows doing with the character and all the other variants of the character. As I said earlier, I actually expected him to be more menacing, and I was surprised that not that all of the main characters from the film survived. I would think that at least one of them would die with how
I was
menacing a villain
hoping
Kang is.
actually.
But I do also get it in the sense that you don't want to, give everything at once and you want to build him up. And I think they're trying to save his most menacing self for these upcoming two Avengers films. I would love to know a bit more about um, the backstory of these Kangs and kind of, how they grew up, where they came from, what led to their, minds. Nowadays, but I think they have. I think Marvel has gotten off to a really promising start with Kang as a villain. The second end credit scene has me really looking forward to
Really,
whatever he will have to bring in season two.
I know it just that gave me chills seeing Loki and Mobius. Yeah, Mobius's reaction to seeing Kang. It gave me goosebumps. I was yeah. When Loki just said it's him, they they were scared because they know how powerful Kang is. I was really happy to see that, and I can't wait for Loki season 2 now. And I don't think we have an official release date yet. Um, but when we get one, I I'll start getting even more excited once we get trailers and stuff. Uh, yeah, the first end credit scene was also really interesting. I'd like to learn more about those three Kangs who we saw at the beginning of the first end credit scene. I want to learn like their backstory, kind of, because this kind of random actually. Just seeing, uh, I don't know what kind of, I don't know what you call that Kang, but it was interesting seeing them there. Yeah, it was really cool, and I'm just excited to see what they do with Kang in the future. Aside from Loki and in the Kang Dynasty, I want to see what they do. So yeah, Kang, an A+ villain for me right now, and hearing that he's Jonathan Majors is great in Creed 3, I'm just so excited. Will, I actually wanted to ask you one more thing. How did you feel? Because
Yeah.
I don't think you actually answered this. Did you feel Hope was sidelined in this movie?
No, I didn't think so. I mean, I think, there were, characters who had, more to do than her. Like I actually thought, this film was really centered around Janet's character and Kang's character, and everybody
Yeah,
else kind of fell in line with the two of them. So I did not think she was sidelined, but I thought that they had Hank, Hope, Scott, and Cassie all as kind of side characters in a film about Janet and Kang. So that's kind of how I looked at it.
yeah. I thought I said it before, but I thought she had plenty of screen time. She had her own subplot. It was fine.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a subplot. It was just a second plot. It was just, and they ultimately connected. It was perfect. Um, Janet, I am so happy we got her fleshed out more, because we've had like a total of 10 minutes with her in the entire MCU before this movie. She was in Endgame, and she was in Ant-Man and the Wasp. That's it. And this movie really dove deep into her character, and I was glad to see that because Michelle Pfeiffer is just a great actress. And yeah, I really thought Janet was a really good character, and her relationship with Hank in this movie, I thought it was really cool. And her relationship with Lord Krylar was also interesting as well. And since you're the real Bill Murray fan here, Will, I just want to hear your opinions on Bill Murray's appearance in the film, and were you okay with him not
Yeah.
being in it for long?
I would have loved to see more of him in the film, just like you, but I can also live with what I got. I thought that Bill Murray was outstanding when he was in it. I thought he played his character perfectly, and I absolutely adored the way that they had him come in from. I mean, how he came in off of his ship. I just loved it. Like I was so mad that my theater that at least one person did not clap
Oh,
during
we had
Bill
a few
Murray's
clappers during that
entrance
scene.
when he came off of his ship. Because if there had been people clapping in my theater when he came off of his ship, I would have been right along with them because I was so excited. I thought his entrance was just brilliant, and even though I would have loved to see more of him, I thought he played his character perfectly for the couple scenes that he was in the film. So, yeah, I have no complaints about Bill Murray or his performance. Would have loved to see more of him, but I can live with what I got.
Yeah, totally. I thought it was fine. I thought it was completely fine. I just I I wanted this character to. Here's actually what I had in mind. My prediction with him going into the movie was, I thought he was one going to be a good guy, and I thought he was gonna kind of guide them through the quantum realm. I thought that's what his role would be. No, he didn't even get that much screen time. He got like 5 minutes of screen time, if that. I I wish we got a little more, but no worries in the MCU. I'm happy with that. And who knows? It didn't look like he died. It just looked like
Yeah,
he got thrown to the side. So perhaps we'll get more. That's what I'm hoping. Fingers crossed. Yeah. So I actually think my one, my biggest complaint with the movie, my overall biggest complaint, and I've said this before. Will, death
yeah,
makes movies better. No one died in this movie. Some might take that as, why are you complaining that no one died? I take it as they were afraid to kill people off. They just should have bit the bullet and killed Hank off. It would have been perfect. It would have been perfect. He could have his big scene when he brings all those ants in, but he doesn't make it out alive because Kang gets him. But the ants end up getting Kang.
yeah,
That would work for me. That would totally work. But they didn't do that, and it is kind of annoying that no one died. But I guess we'll get to see these characters in future movies, which will be exciting. I will be excited for that. Seeing Michelle Pfeiffer and Hay come back in later movies. So yeah, do you have anything else to add
yeah.
about Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania? Well,
Um, I guess just that, yeah. I think like the biggest, like, I feel like if they like, I feel like the biggest benefit of them, if they, for them, if they had decided to kill characters off, would have been to help pose what a threat that Kang is. So I feel like, this is a movie, even though, I don't enjoy watching characters die, I think it could have helped the movie if they had killed one of the
would have
main
given it more
characters
weight.
off. Totally. Just to help explain what a menacing villain King is. So I thought they could have done a better job with that. But I would just like to say that I think the Ant-Man and the Wasp team and the Doctor Strange, or I guess I'll say the Doctor Strange and Wong team, I think those two teams of people will get top billing in the next two Avengers films because the Ant-Man people have directly dealt with Kang, and the Doctor Strange people have directly dealt with the
That's
multiverse. And we'll see if Loki comes into play as well. But I think that the Ant-Man and the Wasp people and the Doctor Strange and Wong people, like those two teams, I think will get top billing in the next Avengers film because they'll have done the most with the themes that they've been developing lately in and the multiverse.
Yeah, 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 totally. That actually makes a lot of sense, and I actually think that's smarter because they could just make there be one big hero like they did with Iron Man, but I'm glad they kind of have a few people in that general area who know what they're talking about, who can kind of guide the other Avengers, you know. Um, so yeah, that's actually a really good point there, Will. But that's all for me, and yeah, I think that'll do it for today's episode of the Everything Podcast. Quicker because we only had Quantumania to talk about. I'll see you guys next week, and thank you guys for watching. Well, thanks for joining me as always, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.